Hey guys, welcome back to Hollywood Recapped. Today, I am going to explain you a 1980 romance drama movie, The Blue Lagoon. Movie starts with a family going on a trip to Europe, in which a 9-year-old Richard and 7-year-old Emmeline are there. Both of them are cousins. Richard's father is also there and a cook who used to cook on that ship. There were other people on this ship too. Then suddenly a fire breaks out on the ship, due to which Paddy, who is a cook, takes the children and sits in a small boat. Other people were also saved, but due to the burning of the ship, smoke spread everywhere. And so they couldn't see each other. Paddy gets separated from them. Now Paddy was alone in this Pacific Ocean. With 2 small children with him. Then one morning when Emmeline's eyes opened. She sees an island. And she immediately shows Paddy and Richard the place. Paddy gets very happy seeing this. He turns the boat towards the island. And these 3 reach the island. Where there were also many birds and there was spring of fresh water to drink. There was no shortage of food, due to which these 3 become very happy. Now at least they could live here until they could get some help. That's when they get a can filled of rum. That's when Richard finds a human skull there. It means someone had come here before. Seeing all this, Paddy does not like anything and runs away with the children. He also forbids Richard and Emmeline to eat red berry. Because red berry was poisonous and eating it could kill a person. After this, Paddy teaches Richard to fish, building a house and many other things. One night while the children were sleeping, Paddy was drinking rum. Then he could hear some sound. That was coming from the other side of the island. So the next morning Paddy goes to see the place. Here he sees flesh and blood on the stone. Seeing this, he immediately runs away from there. At the night time he warns the children to never go to other side of the island. Now, there was something on that island that Paddy was afraid of. One night, Paddy drinks a lot and he dances with children for a while. And then he falls asleep there. Seeing him, the children also go to sleep. But at night, Paddy wakes up. And he goes to the nearby island. In the morning when Richard and Emmeline can't find Paddy, they start looking for Paddy. And they see Paddy. After this they both take the boat and reach him. The children are very scared to see that Paddy is dead now. And they both leave him there and go away. Now after Paddy is dead, those children were feeling very lonely. That night, Emmeline tells Richard to take him to another island. So the next morning, they leave that island and take some of their belongings and go to the nearby island. Here he follows the things that Paddy had taught him. He builds a house for themselves, and that's how they start spending his time, and many years passed by like this. Now they had grown up a lot. They had learned to live here, and they were both happy. Now that, they had grown up, so that's why they were getting attracted towards each other. Due to physical changes in their bodies, they started noticing each other unknowingly, but they did not understand this feeling. And neither is anyone there who could explain this feeling to them. This feeling was completely new and stressful for them. One day when Emmeline is in the water, she sees blood in the water, which she gets scared of. And she immediately calls Richard. But later she sees that the blood was coming from her body itself. Actually this was his first menstruational period. When Richard comes there, he sees blood in the water and he asks Emmeline what happened. But Emmeline tells Richard to leave. Later Richard asks Emmeline why she was bleeding, then Emmeline says that she don't know the reason. Richard thinks that Emmeline was hurt so he wanted to see her injury. But now she doesn't tell him anything. Richard gets angry with this and leaves from there. He says that you are hiding things from me. As the time passes, both of them start getting attracted towards each other more than before. Emmeline used to keep looking at Richard's body and Richard also kept looking at her. One day Emmeline hears sound of drums playing from somewhere far, then Emmeline goes there to see that and Richard was fishing here. When Emmeline sees it, she learns that the sound is coming from another island they had left in their childhood. Then Emmeline goes further. And she sees an idol. When she goes too near, she sees blood there. Seeing this, Emmeline runs away in fear and goes to Richard and tells him all these things. Hearing this, Richard scolds her because since their childhood, they both have been following the rules that they will never go to the other side of both the islands, but today, Emmeline broke this rule. At night when Emmeline was sleeping. Then she has a dream in which she sees that Richard is drowning and that he has died. After seeing this dream, Emmeline wakes up and becomes very frightened and hugs Richard. She says him to promise that he will never leave her. Richard promises to Emmeline. After this, Emmeline kisses Richard, but here, Richard is unable to control his feeling and comes across to Emmeline, due to which Emmeline gets angry with him and leaves from there. It was night and Emmeline was sleeping. Then Richard approaches to Emmeline. And starts touching her, but then Emmeline wakes up and scolds him and drives him away. Richard was getting attracted towards Emmeline. But Emmeline was unable to understand his feeling. When it is morning, Richard gets angry and starts leaving from there. Then Emmeline asks him where he was going, but Richard doesn't even talk to her. So Emmeline goes after him to convince him. Where she sees that Richard is doing something. But Emmeline doesn't understand what is he's doing. She calls out to him. Because of this Richard becomes even more angry at her. One day Richard sees a ship in the sea and he immediately runs towards home because there he had gathered woods. By burning which he could give a signal. That ship was also seen by Emmeline, but she did not burn the wood intentionally. When Richard asks her for the reason, Emmeline doesn't answer him properly. Actually Emmeline liked this place very much. And she wished to stay here forever, but Richard didn't want to stay here at all. After so many years, he saw a ship and Emmeline had let it go. After all this Richard makes a raft for himself and leaves from that island alone with some food and water items. But after going a little far away from the beach, his raft breaks down and he comes back to his home. Here, Emmeline makes fun of him. And she tells Richard that she knew what he was doing that day. Richard says this is wrong. That you look at me silently, then Emmeline says that you too look at me silently when I am without my clothes. Richard makes fun of Emmeline and starts teasing her by placing 2 coconuts on his chest, then Emmeline angrily hits a coconut on her head. In return, Richard gives Emmeline a tight slap. And then Richard goes home and throws all of Emmeline's belongings out of the house. He says that he had built this house. And she can't stay here. Because of this, Emmeline has to live in a small cave and it was raining from above. Due to this quarrel, both of them got separated and were not even talking to each other. Meanwhile, Emmeline goes to place flowers on the statue. Then her foot is placed on a poisonous fish which makes her very ill. Richard had not seen Emmeline for many days, so he goes to the cave where Emmeline used to live. Here he sees Emmeline's condition and asks her what happened to you, then Emmeline says that my foot was placed on a fish which looked exactly like a stone. Seeing such a condition of Emmeline, even Richard was afraid now. Emmeline tells Richard to take her to God. She used to call that idol as God. So Richard goes to the idol with Emmeline. Here Richard prays to God that Emmeline gets well soon. Then after resting for a while, Emmeline recovers. Now both of them started talking to each other. They started spending time back with each other. Both of them were now living together a little more. One day both of them were sitting together and eating fruits. Then both of them come close and kiss each other, and after that both of them get intimate. For the first time they had understood that feeling and liked it. Now they were very happy and used to romance many times a day. Several days pass like this in making love. One day Richard sees that Emmeline's health is not good, due to which Emmeline was also not able to give time to Richard. Then Richard asks her that don't you love me anymore? Don't you like me now? Then Emmeline says that it is not like that. I'm sick and I feel like I have something in my stomach. Richard places a hand on Emmeline's stomach. Now, he feels some movement. And he asks Emmeline how did she move her stomach like this. Emmeline tells Richard that she did not move her stomach. It's happening by itself. Actually Emmeline was pregnant, but both of them were unaware of this. One evening Richard hears some sound. And he immediately runs towards it and reaches near that voice. Where he sees that there were more people on this island other than them. In fact, they were the permanent tribals of Ye. Who used to come here every time to complete their rituals. And this time also they offer the sacrifice of his enemy to God. Seeing this, Richard immediately runs away in fear. When he was coming back he could hear Emmeline screaming. Actually Emmeline was giving birth to her child under a bed. She gives birth to a child with the help of Richard, which both of them are so happy to see. And he brings them to his house. But the child was crying because he was hungry. Richard tries to feed the child with water and food. But such a small child could not eat and drink all this. Both of them did not understand what to do. Then Emmeline takes her baby in her lap and starts feeding him. And that baby calms down. He was a boy and they both named that child as Paddy, in memory of Paddy. Richard then scolds Emmeline and he warns her to not go to the other side of the island. One day Richard takes a raft to the old island where Paddy's skeleton was lying. He understands the structure of the human body by looking at that skeleton. Both of them were very happy because of the child. He always loved her. A few months passed like this and that child had grown up a bit. One day while all three were playing on the beach. Then Richard's father reached that island. He sees Richard, but he thinks that he is a permanent resident of this island, so he leaves from there. Richard and Emmeline also saw that boat. But he no longer wanted to go to his home from this place. He was very happy here. One day they reached the old island where they came with the Paddy for the first time. Going there, he remembers his past by looking at the old things. Meanwhile, his kid breaks the red berry and puts it in the raft, which neither of them knew. On their way back, the kid accidentally drops the rudder of the raft into the water. So Emmeline tries to take it, but she could not reach it, so she calls Richard who was left behind to take some fruit. He runs and jumps into the water and then Emmeline sees the shark. That is coming after him. Now in an attempt to save him, Emmeline kills the shark by throwing her other rudder. She had saved Richard, but now without a rudder, their raft was going away from that island. And after some time it goes to the middle of the ocean. They had neither food nor water, they could quell hunger and thirst, but they had a small child with them and they were worried about it. Then 2 days pass like this in the middle of the ocean. Because the child was hungry, he eats berry, whom Emmeline sees, but now it is of no use. Now, Richard picks up berries and gives half to Emmeline and half to himself. He decides that he too will give his life along with that child. But the child was still alive. He was just sleeping because he had eaten very few berries. Now, these people eat berries and go to sleep. Then Richard's father sees his raft and he at once approaches that raft. Where a man tells them that they are alive, just asleep, and here the movie ends. If you loved the video then please leave a like and consider subscribing. It helps the channel as we put a lot of effort making these videos for you.